In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to calculate the three most important numbers that you need to know when buying a pre-sale property or when assigning or selling your pre-sale before you take possession with a calculator that can run the numbers in under 60 seconds. I will show you exactly how to calculate your pre-sale purchase costs so that you will understand all of the fees and taxes, how to calculate the costs of selling your pre-sale as an assignment of contract so that you can make money on the deal without ever owning the real estate, as well as how to calculate your break-even point so that you know what you will need to sell it at if you just needed to get out of the deal for any reason. And if you stick around to the end, I will show you where you can get a pre-sale guide that will cover everything you need to know about the pre-sale process, which includes a link to the pre-sale calculator that I show you in this video, as well as my top favorite pre-sale search websites so that you can start finding these opportunities immediately. So stay tuned. What's up, guys? My name is Mark Parsons with eXp Realty, and I create content to help buyers, sellers, and investors make the best decisions when it comes to real estate in the greater Vancouver area. If you get any value from this video, give it a thumbs up, click to subscribe, and tap that notification bell. It really helps the channel, and I do appreciate it. If you have any questions or comments, comment below. I respond to 100% of my YouTube comments and absolutely love the engagement. And if you would like to book a call on my calendar, there is a link below in the description, as well as all of my contact info if you would like to just reach out directly. So without further ado, let's jump into the video. Okay, so in this video, we are going to show you exactly how to calculate your cost to purchase a pre-sale property in British Columbia, how to calculate the cost to sell a pre-sale, or using the correct term, assign the contract. But most importantly, we're going to show you how to identify your break-even point. I see so many buyers purchasing pre-sale properties as a speculative investment to sell the contract without ever taking possession of the property, without ever even understanding where their break-even point is. This is not a number that you calculate when you're looking to sell. This is something that you need to know when you purchase. And to be honest, at the time of this recording, pre-sales are starting to make a lot more sense again, with prices down, likely to be up by the time you complete, and with interest rates up, likely to be down when you complete, and rents are definitely going up in the years to come. Buyers are flocking back to pre-sales again. So let me share my screen and show you how easy you can do this. All right, so let's hop into the pre-sale cost calculator. You can access it through my pre-sale guide, Understanding the Pre-Sale Process in British Columbia. This has a ton of information for you to understand the pre-sale process. But if you go down to just the last two pages, the second last page, you can get the my top pre-sale search websites that I prefer to use. My favorite is buzzbuzzhome.com, but this is also a great one as well. And then down here, you can either click the image or click this text here, and it will take you directly to the pre-sale calculator. So it's a very, very simple calculator, guys. You're going to love it. You can calculate all your costs on any pre-sale deal in literally under 60 seconds. So it says below you will find a breakdown of the cost to purchase a pre-sale property, as well as the cost if you were to assign it or sell the contract before without completing on the final purchase and taking possession of the completed unit. If your plans are to take ownership of the property at completion and not assign/sell it to a new buyer, disregard the second half of the pre-sale calculator. Yes, guys, so this part here only applies if you were to assign your contract and sell it before you took possession, not if you took possession and then sold it, but just selling the piece of paper, selling the contract. Everyone dealing with a pre-sale will have to deal with this side of the calculator, and there are a few caveats down here. Confirm all taxes referenced on this sheet with a tax accountant, as individual tax scenarios can vary significantly. Real estate commissions are not standard. Calculation is based on 7% on the first 100,000, 3% on the balance. So I'm in British Columbia, depending on where you're watching this from. So it doesn't matter where in North America you are. Commissions aren't standard, but different areas have what might be considered common. So I'm in British Columbia, so the number that I've used to calculate real estate fees is outlined down here. But if you were in a different area, you'd want to adjust those numbers, and just as well as taxes. So property transfer tax, I'm in British Columbia, Canada, so my taxes are calculated based on the taxes in my region. If you were to be in a different area with different taxes, it would need to be adjusted. Unfortunately, when it comes to pre-sales, taxes are going to be different in any different state or any different province, and that will have to be accounted for. But what you're looking at here is for the province of British Columbia. All the numbers are calculated there. And then at the bottom, it says legal fees are estimated, vary by each service provider, and are subject to inflation. Buyers verify for yourself. Yes, so there's an area where we're putting in the lawyer fees here that, they can change. It's not necessarily going to be that, but that's kind of a good ballpark. So anyway, let me show you how easy this is to use. The blue here represents the input field. So all you have to do is enter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 areas, and everything else will be calculated for you. So let's say, for instance, you bought your pre-sale at 70,000. Let's add another zero to that at 700,000. The deposit, again, guys, there is every developer, depending on where they are in their project, and just each developer gets to set their own deposit schedule based on how much you're going to have to pay deposit, and over what schedule, what time. They'll often want something up front, and then maybe something 6 months down the road, or maybe something another 6 months if they're very close to completion. Maybe it will just be the initial deposit, but that will all be outlined in the contract from the developer. So it is good to make sure that you have your own representation who's able to make sure you're contractually protected. That is something that I do for my clients. But just know that the developers, they're not using the boilerplate standard contracts that you would get if a property was sold on the MLS. They have their own lawyers write up their own contracts. They're all different, and they're very much in favor of the developer. So it's good to have representation to make sure that nothing is overlooked that may not be to your advantage. So anyway, you enter the purchase price. We'll say 700,000 for this one. Total deposit required 10%. It might be 15. It's going to vary by the developer. And then lawyer fees. I put in 1,500, but again, this is something that you would verify. But in my region, that's a reasonable estimate. And what it's going to do here, so the purchase price, the deposit will be calculated here. The remaining balance, which will be your mortgage, is auto-calculated for you. The GST on the purchase price in British Columbia is calculated for you. Property transfer tax in British Columbia is calculated for you. So you have your total tax. The only fees you're really going to come across on a pre-sale are typically going to be your lawyer fees when you're purchasing, just to making sure that they're able to handle the legal side of the transaction for you. And then down here, it calculates your total taxes and fees, which includes all of your taxes. It's pretty much all taxes. Working with a realtor on the buy side, the realtor will be paid by the developer. So my fees for representing a buyer and protecting their interests are actually paid by the developer, the seller. So it's no cost to you, the purchaser of the pre-sale. And then you can see your real costs, because these total taxes and fees, what you're going to have to come out of pocket will be your total deposit and then your taxes and fees. So you want to make sure that you've got a clear understanding of the number of your taxes and fees, because these here will not be able to be financed at the end of the deal. Now, you're not going to have to pay them when you complete. And in fact, if you assign the contract or sell it to someone else before you complete, you don't have to pay the GST and you don't have to pay the property transfer tax. So those taxes are only applicable to the buyer who actually takes true possession of the property, like their name goes on title, the person who actually takes the ownership of the property and not just the contract. So if you sell it before you've the developer has given you possession and you've taken the title, then you would not have to pay these taxes. Those taxes would then be paid by the person who buys the contract from you. And then if you are looking at selling it, this is what it looks like. Your purchase price is going to be the same. Your deposit will remain the same. Then your sale price let's say, I mean, in this case, let's just keep it at 800,000, but let's say it was 798,000. Maybe that's what you negotiated with the buyer who's buying the contract from you. Now, the lift is the technical term that we use in the industry in British Columbia anyway, and that is the difference between your purchase price and the sale price. So in this case, if you bought it for 700,000 and you sold it for 798, then the lift would be 98,000. The tax on deposit and lift. So in my region, you have to pay GST on the deposit and lift. It's kind of crazy. You got to pay it on your deposit, which is given back to you, even if you sell the contract, but that's how it is now. So you're paying deposit on the 70,000 plus the 98,000. 5% of that is 8,400. The assignment fee, this will be different per developer, which is why you do want to make sure that you have proper representation who understands that contractual side of it, all of the rules and stipulations around the assignment fee. Now, the assignment fee can be anywhere from 1 to 3%, and sometimes it's even just an administration fee. But that's going to vary per developer. So let's say this one was at 2%. And then real estate fees, again, is based on down here. When you are selling your contract, now you are the seller, so you will be paying the commission to the real estate agent who's representing the sale of your assignment contract. And out of those fees also is paid the buyer's agent, the agent who is bringing the buyer to the table to purchase a property back off you not the property, but the contract off you at 798,000. So you've got your real estate fees calculated in, and then your total taxes and fees. So the total taxes and fees includes tax on the deposit and lift, the assignment fee, as well as the real estate fees. So what you'll find is that the total taxes and fees for selling it are often similar to what you have for buying it. So over here, the majority of these fees, the 35,000 GST and the $12,000 property transfer tax, it's based off of this price. Those fees will actually be passed on to the buyer. So you won't be taking on these fees, and then you will be taking on these fees. So what it's done here is now taking your 798,000 minus your original purchase price. So then you have your lift, which is 98,000. It subtracts your taxes on your deposit and lift, your assignment fee, your real estate fees, which total here. So the total of your taxes, assignment fee, and real estate fees is 53,000. So that 98,000 minus the 53,000 here gets you what you have received from sale, which is also subject to capital gains tax, something that you want to speak with an accountant about. Every person's personal tax situation will vary widely on where they can put the funds and how they'll be taxed, and can they be split between the husband and wife. All of those answers will be given to you by an accountant. And then the return on investment. So down here, what you're seeing is if you put up 70,000 and you got 53,000 back, well, you got 64% return on your money, because you will also be getting your deposit back as well. Your deposit is returned to you plus what you've made above it, and that calculates it there. Now, how do we calculate our break-even point, which I think is the most important point? Is we know our purchase price, or what we're going to purchase it at. Then we just want to what number do we put on the sale price that is going to bring all these calculations down to as close to 0% as possible as we can get it. So it wouldn't be 700,000. It's not if you sell it for the same price you bought it. That is not your break-even point, because you're still going to have to pay all of these taxes, right? A lot of people will tell you, oh, I bought it for this and then I sold it for that. And everyone's like, wow, you just made, the $100,000 if you bought it for 700,000 and sold it for 800,000. That $100,000, that's what people often won't speak of, the other details. It's no different than a gambler winning at the table and how they're only describing their wins. But I want to make sure that you can see with absolute clarity all the other costs. So the real $100,000 lift gains you back in this scenario just under $50,000. So just so that you have an idea there. Now let's get back to finding out where our break-even point is. So all you got to do to find the break-even point is just kind of play with this number. Let's try 750,000. And see where we're at, 2.5%. So that's about your break-even point. But let's try 745,000. -3, so it's probably going to be like somewhere between 748,000. Yeah, so let's go 749,000, 748,500. I won't go any closer than that, but there you go. So then it's less than 1%. So you know that basically by doing this, you can say, okay, when I buy this, and if I'm going to complete on it in 2 years, I'm going to need to get about an extra $50,000 to break even. Everything above that is going to put money in my pocket. This gives you real context. From the point when you're actually purchasing the property, you don't want to be figuring out these numbers when you're selling the property, because that means you went through this whole part of the transaction uncertain of where your break-even point is. So in my opinion, you want to know that right out of the gates when you're purchasing. And at the end of the day, if prices were down, I'll just be fully transparent here. If prices were down, let's say, or let's even say you only sold it for 735,000. Okay, so the number here is negative 11,000. That money here would be taken out of your deposit when it's given back to you. So your deposit, when you have it returned to you, would be less 11,000. So just so you understand that, just because you sell it above doesn't mean that you are making profit on that transaction. So any questions at all, guys, let me know, and I will give you access to the guide, which will link to this calculator, as well as to the pre-sale purchase search websites. So that's it for today's video. I hope you can see how quick and easy this calculator is. For access to the calculator, it can be accessed in my pre-sale guide, which you can download for free from the link in the description. The guide also has links to the best pre-sale search websites in the Lower Mainland. I am a pre-sale specialist and can ensure that your interests are contractually protected in your pre-sale purchase. If you would like to speak further on the pre-sale opportunity, look in the description below where you can book a call on my calendar or get my contact info and reach out directly. Any questions or comments, comment below. I respond to 100% of my YouTube comments. And if you get any value at all, smash that thumbs up button. I appreciate you taking the time to watch, and we will see you on the next video.